Hey sports fans, welcome back to another episode of the Talking Guy Report, where I'm a guy talking, you're here to listen. So let's get going. The first thing we want to talk about here is obviously this week's picks. It is week 16 in the NFL Football League. That means we have this week and one more week after this, and then we're going into the playoffs. Pretty exciting stuff. Obviously the Thursday night game has already played. Sorry. Spoiler alert, the Raiders won. Alright, going forward, we have a game tonight. I don't know if this will be up before, but hopefully it will. We have the Washington Redskins versus the Philadelphia Eagles in a big playoff implication game. Alright, so, this game, Washington at Philadelphia. I'm picking Washington. I think that they're a better team overall. I think the Phillies still got a lot of stuff to work out. They have had some decent games in the past few weeks. But I think Washington's going to take this one. Now this is really interesting because if Washington wins, they're submitted in the division. If Washington loses and Philadelphia goes on to play the Giants next week, and then Philadelphia loses and Washington wins, Washington's back in. And then if Washington loses, Philadelphia wins, then Washington loses and the Giants win, then the Giants get the spot. If Washington loses and then Philadelphia wins next week, then Philadelphia gets the spot. So then Washington, I don't know, it's complicated, it's interesting, and I want to see it. Alright? But like I said, I think Washington takes this one. All the drama's gone. Boom. We're done. Alright. Next game is the big one. Carolina at Atlanta. Take two. Right. Obviously the first game, I think it was 38-0. Carolina beat Atlanta. Whoa! I don't think that's going to happen again. It's not going to be a shutout. But Carolina's still going to take this one. I think they're still going to start all their starters. Except for Jonathan Stewart. Obviously he's out with injury. But Carolina's going to take this one. Indianapolis at Miami. I think Indianapolis is going to take this one for one reason. Matt Hasselbeck. Matt Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck? Anyway, they're going to take this one. New England at New York Jets. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Jets really want to win this one. But I don't think they're a good enough team to beat New England. New England's going to win. Houston at Tennessee. Houston has been playing really well. Obviously, they're leading the division. With a win here and a Colts loss, they would take the division. I do think they'll win here. Cleveland at Kansas City. Kansas City is a much better team. Kansas City wins. San Francisco at Detroit. It'll probably be a close game between two teams that are not very good. But San Francisco is in my bottom five for teams this year. Detroit's somewhere in the middle. Detroit's going to take this one at home. Chicago at Tampa Bay. Chicago showed some sparks. They really know what they're doing. Jay Cutler's looking great. Jameis Winston's still my Rookie of the Year pick. And a lot of people, I think, after the last few weeks have kind of been doubting that sort of thing. Let me tell you something. The biggest thing to go towards Jameis Winston over maybe Todd Gurley, which if Todd Gurley got it, I'd be okay. But Jameis Winston has had 30 dropped balls this year. 30. That is the most in the league. That means he got the ball to his receiver. They did not catch the ball. Doesn't mean he overthrew him. It means they got their hands on the ball and still didn't bring it in. Jameis Winston, Rookie of the Year. Jameis Winston wins this game. Chicago's going down. Dallas at Buffalo. Again, Dallas can't win a game to save their life. Buffalo's a good team. Dallas loses. Buffalo wins. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Like I said, previous couple weeks, I think Baltimore is the worst team in football right now, which is crazy to say, but they are the worst team in football, especially with Jimmy Clausen behind center. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Going to take the win. Jacksonville at New Orleans. Sorry, Blake Bortles. You're going to get showed up by the better quarterback. Green Bay at Arizona. Man, I want to pick Green Bay so bad for this game. But let me tell you what, Arizona's going to win this one. It's at Arizona. St. Louis at Seattle. Seattle is a scary team right now. Seattle is going to romp this team. New York Giants at Minnesota. New York Football Giants with no Odell Beckham. If you ask the other wide receivers for the Giants, they say that they're going to be able to replace Odell, no problem. But if you ask me, he's the only spark that team's had this year at all. So look for Minnesota to win this one and cement their playoff spot. Cincinnati at Denver, probably the game of the week here. Before I picked this one, I had to look up some stats, see how A.J. McCarron was going to do in place of Andy Dalton, that sort of thing. I just don't think he's the leader of this team like Andy Dalton is. Last week against a very bad San Francisco team, he threw 192 yards and 1 touchdown. That's not going to be enough to beat Denver. Now, Denver's been struggling as well, especially in the second half, but they will score enough points in the first half to cement the win. It's going to be 20-24 Denver win. Don't know if you saw my picks last week and kept track of them. Did really well. I got 13 out of 15 right. I did not pick the Thursday game last week either, just like I didn't pick the Thursday game this week. 13 of 15. That's pretty dang good. It was enough to win my football pool. If you did better, go ahead and write it down. Tell me how you did in your football pool. Tell me if you won, that sort of thing. I think it's pretty interesting. It's also cool to see how close you get to the points. That's always kind of exciting to me. So if you'd like to comment or anything like that, go ahead and put a comment below. I'm always welcome to listen to them. Alright, if I picked against your team, sorry guys. It's just the way of the world. It's the way it's always going to be. Alright, so if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, subscribe anyway. And like the photo again. I'm a Talking Guy. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time. This Monday I'm going to be putting up a video about the Defensive Player of the Year, so be sure to check that out.